Influential, bold. We are just needs of a world gone cold. With Christian values guiding us, we will bring hope to a brighter day. Rise up, servant leaders, let your light shine. Bring true change in every endeavor all the time. Rise up, servant leaders, let your light shine. With the kingdom in our sight, we lead the way through day and night.
Now we'll be taking our declaration. So let's take it together. I am a servant, transformational leader, empowered by God's grace. I serve with
I serve with
integrity,
integrity,
humility,
and love.
and love. I inspire
I inspire
others
others with
with
a
a
heart
heart of
of
selflessness.
selflessness.
I
I
strive
strive
for
for
excellence
excellence in
in
all I do.
all I do. I shine
I shine
for
for
Jesus
Jesus
in
in
every
every
aspect
aspect of my
of my
life.
life. I am
I am
God's
God's
servant,
servant, transformational
transformational
leader,
leader,
doing
doing
the
the
impossible.
impossible. Glory to God.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Amen. Can I have the profile? Yeah, it's coming. Thank you so much. So let me get on. Major General Dele Arogundade is a distinguished leader with expertise in emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, and negotiation. He's a chartered emotional intelligence professional, certified life coach, and alumni of Harvard Kennedy School. He holds multiple master's degrees and is pursuing his doctorate in leadership and strategic studies. A seasoned military officer, he has successfully applied alternative dispute resolution methods in various internal security operations. A published poet and international speaker, Arogundade has delivered papers at various forums and served as a resource person at esteemed institutions. So the next class we'll be having is on emotional intelligence, and I know it's going to be truly awesome. Welcome, sir. So good to have you here.
Thank you. So thank you again, Arogs, for your great time with us. This is not your first time at Georgia Rafa Support Foundation. Thank you for accepting to be a facilitator with us. Please note that Engineer Dele is a military renowned specialist. He's known all over the armed forces for emotional intelligence, and he has given, I'm sure, this lecture, if I'm not exaggerating, over 1,000 times in different places. So we are so glad to have him.
Thank you, sir.
The only place that is missing now is my college. I'm still trying to see where I can fix him because the curriculum is so tight, but definitely we'll have you in the college before they graduate in September. So with the CLA welcome, can we just welcome Engineer Dele and the chat group? Over to you, brother and friend.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here once again. And I have also learned quite a lot this morning. Don't be like me. Don't be like me. Those were the words of somebody I looked up to in the military job. He came to see me while I was a directing staff at the National Defense College. And he waited for about an hour plus to see me because I was engaged somewhere else. And got to talk, say, yeah, he repeated, Dele, don't be like me, don't be like me. Why? This was a very seasoned senior officer, very brilliant, and has had some very peculiar appointments. But along the line, when he was due to be considered for promotion from 1 star to 2 star. He did very well. I think from what we gathered, even came tops, but he was not promoted. It happened the second time. And one common line based on report was the fact that they said we cannot work with him. We cannot work with him. But on his own account, when he was sharing with me, he said, well, there are some things he later discovered that were like issues with him. He had no filters. I don't know if you get that. When I mean no filters, he talks when he feels if something is wrong, he will say it. The way just feel it should be said. And even and sometimes not in the best form. Say yes, now I'm just saying what it is. And that counted against him. So he was telling me that he knows that I'm still growing, but I should learn to balance things. And one of the basic things that was wrong with the senior officer was issue of he had poor social skills. He could not really relate with people. On his own, he was a good person, but he lacked social skills. And social skills is one of the critical components of emotional intelligence as we discuss this topic alongside leadership this morning. So once again, I want to thank the leadership of Christian Leadership Academy for this opportunity to share my thoughts. I'm going to be as practical as possible. We are Christians and also we're in the workplace. So we'll try to make things very, very practical. Within the time that I have quite a lot to say, but I will try to keep the time. Traditionally, looking at the workplace, generally people look at certificates when appointments are to be given naturally, even sometimes in the church, what you have acquired, which is normal. But in the last few years, there has been a gradual change from what is known as hard skills, which are certificates, to the realm of soft skills, or what some people call the intangibles. And I also call them future-proof skills, even though artificial intelligence cannot replace emotional intelligence. But future-proof skills are intangibles, things that you cannot see. Certificate you can see, he has a master's, he has a PhD, he has this, he has that. But soft skills or intangibles are things that you cannot see. They are things that, and that's why we talk about the like internal skills. This includes critical thinking, good communication skills, problem-solving skills, and also emotional intelligence. And some even add a subset, which is social intelligence. In addition to that, researchers have also identified a strong positive relationship between emotional intelligence and leadership. And thank God it's a leadership course. So that's why I try to expand it, not just talking about emotional intelligence generally, but we should relate it to leadership. And as we go along, we will see the nexus of the relationship between these two aspects. The next slide on the screen is showing us some benefits of emotional intelligence, which include increased leadership ability, increased team performance. As leaders, we're always operating in teams. We have people following us. It also helps to improve decision making, reduce staff turnover, and increase personal well-being. I tell people that emotional intelligence is not just for the workplace, even in our own personal lives. It helps us in various areas, even in our own homes, relating with our children, with our spouses. Emotional intelligence comes into play. And one peculiar thing about emotional intelligence is the fact that unlike intelligence quotient, IQ, which according to researches, if you have high IQ, you are just high up there. But emotional intelligence can be learned and improved upon with training as well as with experience. That's a good thing about it, with training. And I can say this for free because over time, there are things too that I have taken note and I've learned consciously, intentionally to add. It takes some time, but with practice and experience, we improve on it. And it has really helped a lot, not just for me, but from interactions with people, in various places, both in the military and also in the civil sector, and even in Christian settings, we have had to share some of these things that we're talking about. So you can see IQ is like the iceberg. The small part, you see it is showing outside, but the main one, emotional intelligence, is hidden, the one behind. And oftentimes it overrides what is actually outside. So the scope of what we're going to be looking at quickly this morning, we're going to clarify some things. We'll look at components of emotional intelligence, science of low emotional intelligence, measures to improve emotional intelligence, and also we'll consider the way forward. As I said, I'm going to try to really, really compress this. Something that even sometimes this can take some 3 days lecture. But how we try to just give us bits so that it's an awareness that we can always build upon.
Correct.
Let's look at leadership. Because of time, I would have asked us to give various definitions, but we will not want to take all our time. According to Peter Nothaus, leadership is very, very complex to define. And it often depends on perspective. That is the truth. Sitting down here, seeing a figure written as 6, the person sitting at the other end will see it as 9. Both of us are correct. But it's from the viewpoint of each person. So there was a meeting that I was at some few years ago, and out of about 4,000 people that I went to sit for, they were at the conference. They asked them to define leadership, and they had close to 3,000 different definitions. And sometimes when I give this lecture, when I call up to 5, 6 people to define leadership, each person comes with his own form of leadership, and in a way they are correct because there are various aspects of it. Like General Colin Powell sees leadership as the art of accomplishing more than the science of management says is possible. Meanwhile, John Maxwell, who is a foremost leadership expert, says that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So there are various aspects of it, but the main thing is the influence, the direction, the ability to get people to understand what a leader is passing across. Those are the crux of leadership. People to be able to willingly obey. You're giving an instruction to somebody else or to some people. They understand the instruction and they are willing to carry out that instruction. You're able to influence them to believe in that cause that, oh, this is my objective. I want to get to this place, and they believe in it. That to me, basically, is what leadership is all about. Be able to impress yourself upon people. Because leadership is all about people. No followers, no leaders. And James Cose says, if you think you're a leader and you turn around, no one is following you, then you're simply out for a walk. As opposed to say you're going on Yahoo. So leadership is all about people, it's about relationship. And that is who I'm emphasizing some of these things so that eventually be able to see how leadership relates to emotional intelligence. All right, so emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, there are various definitions. It's an emerging field, but I will take the one by Travis Bradbury, which says emotional intelligence is your ability to recognize and understand emotions first in yourself and others, and your ability to use this awareness to manage behavior and relationships. I'll go over it again. Ability to recognize and understand emotions first in yourself as an individual and others, and your ability to use this awareness to manage your behavior and relationships. And so in essence now, you see how it has some component that is related to leadership. People involved, not just yourself, knowing about others, and using this awareness to manage behavior and relationships. That's Travis Bradbury. Now, a look at components of emotional intelligence. There are various schools of thought on the components of emotional intelligence. As I said, is an emerging field. Some see it as having like 7 parts, some 8. However, the one that I've adopted for this is the one by a man known as Dr. Daniel Goleman, who is, well, arguably referred to as the father of emotional intelligence. He's a doctor of psychology from Harvard University. He's written a lot of books, and he has been one of the proponents. And I think I tend to agree more with his own, which he has described as being five components. These 5 components include self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. We'll be taking them one by one briefly, and we'll discuss them. Self-awareness has to do with your ability to know your own emotions and understand your tendencies across situations. It actually has to do with know your strengths and your weaknesses. And sometimes it's like carrying out what is called a SWOT analysis on yourself. That's strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats analysis on yourself. Knowing your strengths and weaknesses. Self-awareness. Who am I? Who am I? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? And just thinking about this alone helps you to improve the skill. How do I react to situations? Colleagues, friends, families, and even your peers can help one to know his emotional reactions. And taking some emotional intelligence tests too. There are quite a number of them available online. That can help you to understand yourself. Because that is the first step, knowing yourself first. Next is self-regulation. Self-regulation stems from self-awareness. It happens when you as an individual, you act or restrain from taking action. And actually, it is usually dependent on your self-awareness. And it also has to do with the ability for you to stay flexible, to direct your behavior or actions positively. It also has to do with managing one's emotional reactions to situations and people, an ability to put in emotional reactions and thinking through before taking actions. And I always tell people that it is always better. Please take note of this. Take note of this. If you are not taking note of any other thing, please take note of this. It is always better to respond rather than react to a situation. Because reactions are usually on impulse. It is always better to respond rather than react to a situation, because reactions are usually on impulse and will have serious unintended consequences. Please take note of that. Reactions are usually on impulse and will have serious unintended consequences. While response usually take a little more time to think through. A little more time might be 3 minutes, might be 5 minutes. But you have taken time to ponder and think, what are the likely outcomes of this action I want to take? That may just change the whole story. Even is a part of critical thinking. What are the likely consequences? What are the likely outcomes of this? If I do this, what will likely be the repercussion? So it's very, very important. I know some of us are familiar with this picture. I like showing it because it's a classical case that happened in the entertainment industry about 2-3 years ago between a famous actor Will Smith and Chris Rock, who passed a non-complimentary joke on the wife of Will Smith. And he stood up and went and slapped him on the stage. He was an MC. Slapped him on the stage, but Chris Rock did not react. He was like, because they are friends. Why will you do this? Eventually, Will Smith regretted this. He shed tears, called a press conference, apologized, and all the rest. But there were consequences. He was banned from the Oscar Academy for 10 years. He was supposed to produce a film about that time. It was shut down. And up to now, one way or the other, Will Smith has not fully recovered from what happened. But the man that actually made the joke was let off because the world expected that Will Smith was supposed to be a gentleman and not react to such. He can later maybe make his case that no, that was not a good joke. But what he did, pay Dele for it. No. So the way things are handled really matter. And if you see, I will not go into details, but even the case that of what happened in the National Assembly not too long ago about the issue of seat not changing seat and all the rest, the way it was handled could have been handled better if some, emotional intelligence has come into play. But it's a matter in court, so I will not want to discuss much about it. But it's something that we need to take note of as leaders at various levels, where we need to consider these things to weigh our words and our actions, because it goes a long way. Yeah, this African proverb, we're Africans. So, and this sits home. As I said, I try to be very, very practical in these teachings. If you are wearing a white dress and you engage in a fight with a pig that just came out of the mud, it may be difficult to know who is actually the pig after the fight. That is the truth, because when the pig from mud has finished even rubbing enough mud on you, you might be looking cleaner than you that was wearing white before. And when they say, just stand together, who is wrong now? Who is the pig? Who is the normal person? Okay. So next is motivation. Motivation has to do with passion for the work itself, zeal to do things the better way, not satisfied with the status quo, inner drive to see that things change for the better. Just achieving for the sake of your achievement, not really looking for maybe what you gain from it, maybe monetary or whatever gain. And I have this to say that motivated leaders are usually optimistic in the face of challenges, and this usually have a contagious effect on their subordinates. This happens every time, whether in the workplace, even in the church, or at different places. When a leader is motivated, usually that's an effect on the subordinates. Even to little things, we talked about time management and everything. If they know that our leader, our boss, comes to work on time, one way or the other, and is ready to work, it will, one way or the other, it just have a contagious effect. Every other person will just align, no, this is what Oga wants. And before you know it, everybody is flowing. So next is empathy. Empathy is quite simple. In basic terms, empathy is putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. Putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, trying to feel what the other person is feeling. That is empathy. Being able to discern emotions in other people and understand what they are going through. This is a critical one, because usually, we see a lot in the military concerning this, people having issues in this area. But it's very, very important to say is a critical component of emotional intelligence. It also has to do with skillful in sensing the felt unspoken emotions in a person or group. It's when a leader has empathy, he is able to get along very well with people of diverse backgrounds, creeds, and even cultural beliefs. And we are global citizens, so it's very important for us. And I have this to say that as a leader, you must not get too much, focus too much on the work and forget the feelings of your subordinates. Strike the balance. But please take note, showing empathy as leaders does not mean you compromise discipline in your unit, department, or your office. No, no. And because this is an area I usually get a lot of questions, especially in the military. So now we should now start showing emotions, and we should now start, uh, behavior as civilians, or no. There must be a balance. Be empathetic, but you must not compromise discipline, because discipline goes a long way. So it's very important. Strike the balance as leaders, show empathy, but don't compromise discipline, so that your subordinates will not take advantage of you. And please take note, never ever sacrifice discipline on the altar of empathy. Strike the balance. Because some people say, because they know that he fears God or she fears God or is a Christian, they want to assume, they want to test your flanks. When you have warned once or twice, decisive action must be taken when offenses are committed, so that it acts as a deterrent to other people. Okay. Then also, don't use a sledgehammer to kill a fly. Even though I'm talking about the company, but I'm trying to also bring out some silent things that I feel will help us, to understand these things better. Next is social skills. Social skills now is like the overall, you've known, you see self-awareness, self-regulation, and motivation, they are more like the individual. Empathy is like the other person. So social skills now is like an amalgamation of this. You have known about yourself as an individual, known about the other person. Then social skills now is being able to use this awareness of your emotions and that of others to manage interactions successfully. Using awareness of your own emotion and those of others to manage interactions successfully. And when you have so good social skills, you're a better team player, you're able to manage disputes effectively, and also you have a master at building and maintaining relationships. Please take note that social skills are developed over time with practice and experience. Is almost like the capstone of emotional intelligence. When you have known all the other basic, everything ends up in social skills. Because relationship are about 80% of what emotional intelligence is all about. Yeah, and 5% is emotional intelligence about relationship. You yourself dealing with others. Yeah, social skills help us to communicate more effectively and efficiently, help to build and maintain relationships, and also with new contacts. Let me run. Okay, yeah, as leader must try to build relationships, not to burn bridges. Even Bible says it, that we must strive to live at peace. It might not be possible to do it with all men, but we should strive. And so we must try to build relationships, not to burn bridges. Because sometimes those bridges might need to pass them again. Yeah, start building relationship long before you need them. All right, so signs of low emotional intelligence. Yeah, let me run. Okay, so these are some of the signs of low emotional intelligence. Where somebody is struggling with empathy, people that cannot regulate their emotions, they just fly off the handle without thinking about it. Poor listening skills. When people struggle with relationships, they're always having problem with one person or the other. Those are signs of low emotional intelligence. Let me just share Let me share one example of very pathetic case of a sign of low emotional intelligence. Is, in fact, somebody shared it. A general now, he shared it during one of my lectures. I was asking questions and we were interacting. And he said something happened when he was in a course. His directing staff, who were like his lecturer, he told him, like this night now, they have an exercise the following day, but he got information that he lost his son. And he now made a call to him, sir, I just got information that I lost my son. And so tomorrow, sir, I will not be able to come for the exercise. And the man looked and said, what do you mean you're not come for the exercise? Are you the first person to lose your son or to lose a son? And as the officer was saying it, tears were almost coming out from his eyes. That's a typical example of somebody with low emotional intelligence. Is that, I've had a personal experience too of something close to that. But, it happens. And there's so many examples, but time will fail us to, but you can maybe in the chat room, maybe some experiences, but quite a number of them, poor coping skills, put that oblivious of other people's feelings, and so on. So I said, don't create a toxic environment at your workplace where your subordinates will be afraid to express opinion or relate with you. Both at your workplace and even your various units, maybe you might be leader in the church or even at home. Please. Now let's take a look at measures to improve emotional intelligence level. More practical areas now. First, know yourself. Have a notebook. They are not cast in stone, but they are things that people have practiced over time and it has actually helped. Having a notebook to jot down your reactions to various situations. Ask friends and families to give feedback about your emotions. How do I relate? They will even greet them, they will not answer. And sometimes some of them don't even know. They answer in their mind, but they don't answer outside. Know your strengths and your weaknesses. As I said, you can take emotional intelligence tests, and you see if the ones that you score low, you now begin to take steps to improve on them. Note what trigger your feelings and steps to control your reactions. And when you snap at work, overwhelmed, take a break. When you are stressed, it impairs decisions that are taken. There's also the breathing rule that before you take an action, when you're annoyed, just take like 10 deep. After those 10 deep breaths, the action you're likely to take will be more rational than when you take an action immediately. Just talking about the issue of reaction and response now. Then, in building self-control, set goals for yourself, and to develop self-discipline, take some time, do things that motivate you to achieve more. And when after you've done all these things and you don't see much response, go to the hospital and see a therapist. This is an area, I put it in red because many people neglect this, but sometimes some of these things need a therapist to come in. And also, apart from seeing therapists, as Christians, since this faith-based academy, we need also to take time to pray. Take time to pray for the Holy Spirit to guide, to help us in these areas. Okay. Let's now look at some tips to build effective relationship with subordinates. Number one, let's learn to listen actively. Oftentimes, people are not patient enough to listen actively. They imagine what the other person wants to say, and before the person is finishing, they're already, interjecting and making their input. It's important to learn to listen actively. Allow the person to speak, not interrupting. And also, it's very important to tune into non-verbal communication. What is not expressed, that is part of empathy too. Listen to non-verbal communication. The facial expression can speak a lot. Someone that used to look very, very cheerful before all of a sudden the face is drooping, in looking down, it's very, very important. Or you are talking to somebody, a subordinate, and the subordinate has to fold his or her hand across the chest. It speaks volume. You need to check that something is wrong with this person. And sometimes when you even find out, it might be maybe the person is even going through some emotional issues, trauma, depression, stress, and all the rest, burnout, that the person might need to be given some time off to take a break. I also say that call your subordinates by their first name. It's optional, but sometimes it helps to build a bond. I remember when I talked about this at one of the chief of staff conference, many of my seniors started calling me by my first name. And one way or the other, it's made us bond together. You used to call me, hey, just Arogundade, now you're calling me Dele, Dele. So hope we are friends now, because you say we'll connect better. And it's true. If you're at the airport and somebody calls you by your nickname in secondary school at the airport, you are likely to stop. You are likely to stop. If you are Dr. This and first call you Dr. something there, it might not really matter. But if they call you by that, your first name or your nickname, maybe in secondary school or in primary school even, you are likely to stop. It helps to build effective relationship. I've seen it even happen even in mission areas and everything. You give to some task, it connects and it helps. Smile once in a while. Encourage your subordinates. It's good. Someone say, no, don't praise them. Now, when you praise a subordinate, the person, the head will be swelling. No, it's good. Everybody loves to be praised. Even God inhabits the praise of his people. So it's good to take note of that. Condone genuine mistakes. Take note of that word, genuine mistakes. Not all the time, but genuine mistakes. And give genuine recognition and praise when a subordinate have done well. Okay. This is one of my quotes. Give your subordinates wings to fly. Provide resources for assigned tasks. And condone genuine mistakes. Be a mentor, not a tormentor. Give your subordinates wings to fly. What does that mean? Allow them to use their initiative. And when task is given, as much as possible, please provide resources for assigned task. Resources may be not just financial, it might be human resources also for any assigned task, and condone genuine mistakes. Be a mentor, not a tormentor. This is a message on its own. All right. So let us now look at building effective relationships with our superiors. As I said, emotional intelligence, a major part is about relationships. First is know their personality. Your superiors now might be even your pastor, your uh, head of department, maybe an assigned of department, and it can also be in the workplace with superiors, anybody that is higher than you, know their personality, what they like, what they don't like. It's many people get into trouble because they do the things that does not please, not eye service now, but they don't do things that aligns with what their boss wants. Just like Avian was saying about bosses, you know, that about bosses that want results. Sorry, I cannot see my. I'm trying to look for my screen. Are you see my slide?
Yes, clearly.
Okay, mine is not coming up here. Okay, talking about sorry, just a minute. Okay, talking about what the boss likes or does not like. Like you can imagine somebody going to talk about the somebody going to talk about if the football club of his boss, let's say, for instance, sorry, if any Chelsea fan is there, Chelsea has lost a match and you come to the office the next day, your boss is a Chelsea fan, just say, look at the way those guys are just playing, or Arsenal, which is the common one. Say, look at the way they are just playing as if their leg is wood. Look at the way they lost that match. And the man is a diehard Arsenal fan, a diehard gunner. He might just shake his head. Or do you know sometimes, I'm not talking about stories, I'm talking about real life. I have examples. Some people have entered into trouble just because of that. And from that moment, they have been having problems with their bosses, with the boss, because the subordinate went and talked bad about the football club of his boss. That is not part of the official something, but this is something that is important to this man. And you do that, and the man, anything you do now will not just start complaining and start making, what is the problem with you and all the rest, because of what he said. So there are actually little things that matter. So it's very, very important. And, I had a boss too that loves golf, and one was there, I started learning golf too at that time. And before you knew it, some of the decisions or some of the things I need is on the golf course that we discuss it. And we settle it. And when we get to the office, you just say, okay, put all the people. And I put the people, I just say approved. And people say, how manage that you are getting things, easily approved and what going on with you, with this man? You don't know that. I know his personality, what he likes. When he's in his good mood, that's why I go. And that's why I also need to read their moods and facial expressions. Sometimes I enter his office, I see he's in bad mood, I'll just greet him and say, I will check back on you later. So it's very important. Please, these are little things, but they matter. Please don't just present problems to bosses. Suggest solutions. These are various options. It helps. Most superiors have so many things running in their head. So it's always better for you as a suggest, presenting a problem, suggest likely solutions. Option A, B, C. Leave him to now take the decision. And also, if he has given maybe a directive, if you have a contrary view, it's always better to, comment first before you express a negative or different opinion. Especially, there are some bosses that know that you know better than them. So anything to show that you know too much can be counterproductive. So be careful about that one. Okay. So comment before you express a negative opinion, and don't put your opinions as if it is sacrosanct, that this must be taken. It is an opinion. It doesn't have to be taken. So my slide is... So, as much as we don't do, when you are working with difficult bosses, when you are working with difficult bosses or toxic bosses, always look for a common ground. Always look for a common ground. It's very important so that you can relate very well. Sorry, my network is hanging, so my slide is not moving. Don't try to assure your boss. And please give feedbacks. Give feedbacks. When you have given an assignment, it's better to carry your boss along, give feedbacks. It has been done, I'm on it, and it cannot be done for now because of so reasons. Don't wait until your boss come and ask why is this not done before you give a feedback. Then choose your battles. Choose your battles. Don't, it's not every battle that needs to be fought. Say, no, I will not agree. This is so and so. It's not every battle. Choose your battles wisely. Be selective in your battles. Sometimes peace is better than being right. Okay. There's also an African proverb that says, if you use your head to break coconuts, you will not live to eat out of it. Then in conveying, I don't know why it is. Okay. In conveying words or opinions to your boss, use words like could, would, and might. Don't be definitive. Don't say this should be taken. It is not very, very appropriate. It's a suggestion. It's a suggestion. It can be taken or not taken. Then, building emotional intelligence through biblical lens. First, concerning self-awareness, I'll just run those through briefly. Concerning self-awareness, is also good that we pray as Christians and ask the Holy Spirit, just like in Psalm 139, verse 20, verse 139, verse 23, says, search me, O God. Lord, reveal myself to me. Very, very important. Reveal myself to me. Reveal myself to me. For self-regulation, Proverbs 14:29. Proverbs 14:29, regulation. The Bible says anger even resides in the bosom of a fool. So it's very, very important. Therefore, motivation, Colossians 3:23 says we should do all things as unto God. As unto God. So not just to please man, but as unto God. Then for empathy, Romans 12:15. Romans 12:15, talking about mourning with those that mourn, rejoicing with those that are rejoicing. Very, very important. And also for social skills, I've said it before, we should strive to live at peace with all men. According to Romans 12, verse 18. All right. So I think my time is fast spent now. I just want to give a little bonus. I think something has been said about ways to foster good teamwork. I don't think I attended that class, but I just wrote some things down that will help us. Even when they share the slides that you get it, the slide there is not, it's frozen. Maybe it's network. Okay. Ways to foster good teamwork, just to assist us a little. It's always good to allow every team member to hear their view on a given task. We should not insist that our view must be adopted. It's good to respect team members, part of building effective relationship with our team members now, with our team members and also our peers. Sometimes when it is a peer, something, maybe a study group or even a department or a team. We should not say an opinion is useless. And also we should think critically before we talk. We should show empathy when the team member commits a blunder or is down. And when you are stressed, take a break. Commend a view or effort before you correct. And when it's taken as a team, if it fails, please, it's a collective responsibility. It's also good for us to mentor new members of our team. It will help to foster teamwork. Then, we should be interested in our team, in our teammates or team members' total well-being. Last but not the least is the way forward. And my way forward today is very, very simple. Very simple. We should as much as possible, practice what we have been taught today and put them to practice so that we can become better leaders and also we can achieve more in our team and in our workplace. And last but not the least, no matter the situation, never let your emotions overpower your intelligence. No matter the situations, never let your emotions overpower your intelligence. Thank you very much for listening.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir.
To now, wow,
Never forget.
now Stella.
Today class, thank God.
Thank you so much, sir. No matter what, never let your emotions overpower your intelligence. I will never forget that. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, I see a hand up. Someone has a question. Pastor John, you can speak, sir.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Oh, John.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay, so I have a question, but I know that these trainings are to shaping the learning curve for us, and so I like to see things from different perspectives, especially as it pertains to leadership. So I hope my question is not out of place, but I do hope that I'm also asking this in line with with your position, with the high level of security intelligence, and with what the context upon which I'm going to ask. So this is my question now. In recent times, there have been an outburst about what happened in Benue State, when the president visited. But a lot of the outburst was as a result of the fact that the president came to Benue, but he didn't visit the site where over 200 people were massacred. And so this has raised a lot of questions and criticisms and from a lot of people. So when I look at the scenario, for me as a leader, what I'm asking myself is that if I'm in that position, what works? So my question now is, because of the opinions and what people are saying, the inability for the president to visit the site of the scene, stating his reason, is it a lack of emotional intelligence, or from your perspective as a senior officer, is it justified by security reasons? And what would have worked best, given the fact that we have also been taught today about servant leadership, and then being sensitive, to what is happening. So what is it, a lack of emotional intelligence, or what would have been the best option, sir? Because this is a learning curve for us. So we want to know what works. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
First, I think the president actually had a different program planned. I think it was supposed to have even come to Kaduna on Wednesday, but the program had to be shifted because of what happened in Benue State. I think that's, in the first place, was a display of empathy and also having emotional intelligence concerning what has happened to the people of Benue State, which is very unfortunate for us as a nation. But from the security perspective now, I feel strongly that it's most likely based on security report that place was not safe for the president to be there physically, even though he might have desired to do it. You understand? So that is the way I see it. It's not, I don't think it's because he does not empathize with the people. But at that level, it's not about him alone. It's about the nation. And so he cannot, if he had been advised that, the way things are in that place now, it is not advisable for you to go. It will not be the best to go to visit the actual site. So I think from my own view, that is what must have happened. Not that the president does not, have empathy for the people.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you, Barrister
Let me pitch
Tim.
in.
I see your hand up. Okay.
Let me pitch in. That was a brilliant answer. And the truth is, you can never tell except you are the president.
Yes.
But from our own perspective, one, security, and then two, now is the issue of the fact that he even changed his program to come. Everybody went there. I am aware the chief of defense staff was there on Monday, service chiefs were there on Tuesday, and everybody was there till the president came and left. So for me, that's enough empathy. The third point is that many people forget that the governor is the chief security officer, not the president. It's the governor. And if the governor has been there, then the government has been there. Are you getting my point? If the governor, yes, if the governor has been there, then the government has been there. You know, many times we are just sentimental. We want the president to be everywhere. It's not possible. The governors have their responsibility, the ministers have their responsibility, and it is time that we started, calling leadership to task. At the local government level, call the local government chairman to task. At the state level, call the governor to task, and like that up. Thank you. Next question, please.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Barrister Tim, over to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. General Arogundade. Thank you, Ogababi. This particular class has, particularly for me, been an edge-cutting and incisive one. You know, there are times you think you know a lot, but when you hear things like this, having to do with being intentional about emotional intelligence, being intentional, being assertive, and being proactive. We have a part to play. Now, my question is this, sirs. In the face of very sensitive matters, and bearing in mind our region of the world, religion matters, sport matters, and even family matters having to do with how many wives, how many children. I was watching one program. One man said, the reason he married 2 wives is that each one can have 4. Since government has said every woman can have only 4. In the face of such adversity, sir, how do you employ and how do you dispense matters relating to emotional intelligence, especially when it has to do with our Christian faith, things that have to do sometimes with that are abhorrent, things you shouldn't do as a Christian, and things you should do as a Christian, coming as a bar and as a test of emotional intelligence. Thank you, sir.
Sorry, I need to get some more clarity on the question now. You talked about somebody having maybe 2 wives, 4 wives.
No, so what I meant was that I just give an example.
Okay.
I watched the program, and the person said the reason he said, you are marrying 2 wives. He said the reason he married 2 wives is because government has said one woman can only have 4 children. So if he has 2 wives, each one have 4. So he will have more children. So that was an example I'm giving, and just to say an example to the issues having to do with emotional intelligence. Such a man or such men whose mind already made up, and sometimes over the millennia, some people's mind are set on certain things. And here are we with emotional intelligence, and in the workplace, and your Christianity and all that. Sir, how do you stand?
Okay. Yeah. All right. As I said, is striking a balance. You understand? The workplace is not the same as the church in exact terms. So You need to learn to tolerate people. Their cultural beliefs, their religious beliefs. Yes, you as a Christian, you know that you only supposed to be one wife, but if somebody has married two wives, who is a Christian, he has married two wives, you will not go about castigating that, but you know it is wrong to do this. Yeah, well, he has done it. It's not for you now to advise, oh no, divorce one and leave the rest. No, the main advice you can give such person is to find a way to manage his situation, because no matter what, he will have issues. But for him to be tolerant, and that's where the emotional intelligence level comes into now, that he must learn to be tolerant. If this one is blowing hot, he will not be blowing hot. He has to try to see how to calm things down, because they are there. It's just like now working with a Muslim in the office. You will not say because he's not a Christian or she's not a Christian, you will not work with the person in the office. But just find a way to balance things and give some space. If it is maybe like one example I usually give now is that you like bacon a lot. You understand? Bacon is from pig. But you not say because you feel your colleague in the office who is a Muslim is hungry, you now say, oh, I'm taking bacon. Will you like to have some bacon? You understand? That's sensibility, one not being sensible. We must take note of this little thing, because Muslims, they don't take pork, it's haram to them. So don't even offer at all. Even if the person is hungry, it's better to say, oh, give the person money to go and buy food. Those are some of the little areas that we need to be conscious of, and not laud it and say, no, this is what this person must do, because we understand that this is the way things are. Or say, no, you go and start arguing that, no, how can somebody just wait only one time in a year? You want to be fasting, that you have to fast all over. All those kind of arguments, as much as possible, we should avoid them as Christians, so that we can work amicably with people, especially in the office. Tolerance. We must have that tolerance. You know what to believe. It's a personal belief. Like another example was when I was in Pakistan. We had to visit one of the visits they organized for us was to visit historic sites. One of the places was a big mosque. So I've heard people that have, maybe even thought that, no, how can they say they should visit mosque? The fact that I visited or entered the mosque does not convert me to be a Muslim. I went there to see the place as an historic site, and that was all. But there was somebody that has gone to the same Pakistan, a brother that was having problem because of issues that I know that how can they say assalamu alaikum and all the rest. And I asked him, he was there. I said, what is the meaning of assalamu alaikum? He didn't know. I said, peace be unto you. You see, like, peace be unto you. But it's in Arabic. But Arabic is not because Arabic is Islamic. No. So he said, peace be unto you. And so what? That does not convert you to be a Muslim. But you understand the culture of a place. So it is still part of understanding. Some places, if you don't sit down on the floor to eat with them, they will not feel you are acceptable. They offer you water, you don't drink. You say, no, I'm full. So these are little things. Although it's getting to what they call cultural intelligence, though we must understand this and open up our mind in a broader perspective, that we are in a world, even though we are not of the world, but we are in a world. So we should not see ourselves as if we are isolated. Even though we are insulated from the world, but we should not isolate ourselves from the world. You need to relate with people. Thank you.
So, is there any legal means of legal redress to somebody who has had emotional stress?
Legal
or otherwise, redress. To somebody who has been obviously hurt or has had issues with somebody because of emotional intelligence, because somebody did not, because emotional intelligence was not properly applied to him.
Yeah, It depends. I'm not a lawyer, but I think it depends on the type of or the type of the type of violation, so to speak. It depends on the types of violation that one can say, "Oh, I'm seeking a legal redress," like the one now that somebody talked to in a way and say, "Are you the first person to lose?" Somebody. It's just bad on that person's side, but I don't, the person cannot go to court and say, "Oh, because this person talked to me about this." I personally, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think there are some of these things that cannot be sorted that way. But there are some that, when it comes to violation, maybe of rights, now one can afford to approach the court. That's my view.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I'm well guided.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much. I don't know if the rector has anything to add.
All I will just say is that another amazing lecture, another fine facility. We want to thank Engineer Dele Arogundade for spending time delivering again. I was just chatting with another facilitator who, was just very happy with the presentation. Thank God for you. Like I said, work on you getting to come and present emotional intelligence at Air Force War College. So on our behalf, I want to thank you again. Not that
Thank you so much.
smart is officially speak better than I can. So over to the dean.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for truly another mind-blowing session, as someone commented in the chat. I'll call on one of the students to do the vote of thanks. I hope she's still here. Yeah. I'll call on Pastor Maria to do the vote of thanks on behalf of the student.
Okay, good day, everyone. I want to sincerely appreciate um, Daddy Bobby and General Dele for this amazing, truly mind-blowing expository lecture this afternoon. It's very important that leaders at every level knows how to communicate with both the subordinates and everyone that God has entrusted into your care. Because as we learn here, leadership is influence, is people that God has brought. That okay, these are my sheep, shepherd them well. And then one of the major things that leaders truly need in our world today, and especially in the church, is emotional intelligence, because people come with different kinds of baggage. People come with different things. They could honestly, people can be a handful. But when a leader is both anointed and then he or she has emotional intelligence, you are empathic, you just know how to flow with your people. It just makes leadership easy and effective. So on behalf of the students and on behalf of the leadership, I want to say thank you very much, sir. We'll still go back to this class, to the recordings, and go over it again and again. It's not just applied to our churches, our business places is involved, our careers, everywhere we find ourselves. Emotional intelligence is very, very key, and it makes us stand out as believers. So thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. God bless you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Maria. Sorry, sir, I saw one last question in the chat. I don't know if you have a few minutes to still take that.
Okay.
All right. Sorry about that, sir. Okay, she's asking where does one draw the line with emotional intelligence when it comes to standing out and upholding one's standards?
Okay, I think I just answered it there. That some of these things they are not how will I say a 1 + 1 is equal to 2 answer. But as much as possible, it's good to strike a balance. As I said in the chat box, wisdom is profitable to direct. It's not all battles that we fight. And we have the Holy Spirit to guide us. Sometimes we just restrain, from speaking, because it's not all the time. I say, no, I will not agree. I must speak up. It's good to speak up when you are, when you have an issue, but it is not all the time. It's not all battles. I said, choose your battles. Sometimes peace is better, than being right. So I think that is the way I will answer that. It's not that every situation is different. Every situation is different. Sometimes, like maybe something happened in the open now, with the boss. You have spoken, but you are slighted. Might be just finding a time to go and say, oh, sir, honestly, this is and that, this and that. And you will see that way. But if it is said in another place, it might be that you want to embarrass him or you want to pull him down. You understand? And he will take it in another way. So, as I said, there are no two stations, but the more we practice these things, the more we get better at it, the more we know how to, address various situations, as they come. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We're so grateful.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your time. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
I've seen plenty comments in the chats on how people have navigated their relationship with their boss. Someone talked about how his wife used to cook food and bring to the office and she was refusing to eat, not knowing that the boss was offended at that. So it's important to relate with your boss's with emotional intelligence. Someone also said he had to learn volleyball just because it was his boss's favorite sport. So in every aspect of life,
little things that matter.
yes, honestly. So we can't in life. Emotional intelligence is something that you can't just avoid.
Yeah.
So thank you, sir, for
You're
this
welcome.
amazing class.
Thank
God
you so
bless
much
you.
for having me. I
We're
appreciate
grateful.
it. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Bye,
All right.
sir.